move right on to our attendance for the commissioners. So just let me know if you're here. Mike Gildersgame,
Present.
Nathaniel Stevens, hearing none. Susan Chapnick,
Here.
David White,
Here.
David Kaplan,
Here.
Brian McBride,
Here.
and Chuck Tironi is here. Our associate members, Sarah Alfaro Franco
Present.
and Eileen Coleman. Okay, so Nathaniel Steven and Eileen Coleman are not here tonight. Um, our first item on the agenda, as I mentioned, was our minutes. So we have the minutes for June 4th. Can those be put on the screen?
There we go. And Jackie, you'll need to remind me of this one. It's been a while. Who contributed comments and such to this one?
I'll let you know that it was David Kaplan solo. I never got a chance to look at these to make review before they went out to the commission. So I did look at them afterwards, and I don't have any issues.
Just briefly scroll through as our usual updates.
I just noticed we'll need to fix where it says hybrid. It always says that by default, and then I change it at the top.
Got it. Just say conducted via remote participation or something.
Right.
Fix that now. Scrolling back down to the hearings, there was 40 Lafayette Street. That was the sort of patio and fence matter. That was approved. And then this is where we had a request to continue the hearing on 91 Sunnyside till our last meeting. And it was a brief one, adjourned 8/12. Not much more to review.
Great. Are any further comments or motions on June 4th?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as edited.
Any second?
Second.
I didn't see, but I'm going to assume that was Brian McBride. There you go. Okay, Mike Gildersgame
Yes.
and David White,
Yes.
David Kaplan,
Yes.
Susan Chat. Sorry. Brian McBride,
Yes.
and I lost track here.
Susan and you.
Susan, yeah, Susan.
Yes.
Yes, you don't usually
And
lead off.
yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Chuck Tironi says yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, great. Let's move on to the next set of minutes, and that set is
June 25.
June 25. Thank you.
And everybody was here for this one, minus Eileen. Usual updates.
And I did these minutes if you had a question about them, Chuck.
This is where we touch briefly on the Sims CR issues. And then we later had an executive session on that topic, and those minutes are not included with this separate set to be approved later. Fishing line working group updates. We heard 26 Dudley at that meeting.
There's one here, David, I think like the third paragraph under Kirby says plants will be replaced with invasive species. I don't know if you already caught that or not. I think maybe it's the next paragraph or two down. Oh yeah, that's a short paragraph there.
with invasive shrubs and trees.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's a funny one.
non-invasive.
It's supposed to be native, yeah.
Yeah.
But non-invasive or native, yeah.
Hmm.
All right, good catch.
Thank you.
Doesn't it say invasive saplings up to 2 inches there?
Yeah, so that's to be removed. Where did it go? Yeah, replaced 1-to-1 with non-invasive natives. So it's the like the Norway maple saplings that are over there that they're talking
I see
about.
it now. Okay.
Farther down here, we touched on Sunnyside again to continue it to this meeting. And then there is just a vote to enter executive session. Adjourned 10:06 p.m. Anybody have further changes?
Any motions or comments?
Motion to approve as edited.
That was David Kaplan
Second.
and seconded by Mike Gildersgame. Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Mike Gildersgame,
Yes.
David Kaplan,
Yes.
and Chuck Tirone says yes. Okay. Moving on to our discussion items. First on the agenda is a update from our water bodies working group, and that would be David White.
Okay, a bunch of things today. First one, Spy Pond. The water level is being lowered. Will be treated for brittle naiad on June 16th. Hills Pond is being tested and treated for algae and such. I've heard nothing further about that. I think it's okay. The res, we're trying to manage the water chestnuts there. We had 1 week of Hanigal harvesting in June, and it sort of cleared a good part of it, but there's still a big patch along the northern shore near Lexington. We have volunteers coming on Friday and a public volunteer group on Saturday, 11:30. So that is moving along. And other invasive plants are starting to appear as we remove the water chestnuts. So there's going to be other things to consider as we go forward on the water chestnuts. Okay, McLennan, I understand that the no mow zone is established and working well. We also have people putting in some native plants in that area and also removing invasive. That was approved by Park and Rec. Also report of a wood frog that was found there last week. That was one of the transplants in previous project. And there was a lot of fishing line issues. I'm going to let Susan talk about fishing line matters.
Mm.
Chuck, I had a
Okay.
question, and Dave Kaplan
Sure.
has his hand up too. So,
I see that. Yep. So I'll go with Dave first.
Yeah, David, you mentioned that Spy Pond is being lowered. Is that in anticipation of another treatment?
Yes, another treatment
Okay.
for brittle naiad.
Right. So that's to be in compliance with the NHESP permit and the sedge. Okay.
Understanding, yes.
Thanks. That's all I have.
Sure.
Lowering is
And-
part of that protection of the sedge.
And Susan, did you have a comment?
yeah, what date was that treatment? Because I thought you said June and June passed. So
July
maybe you
16.
meant July. Okay,
July 16 I have
thank you.
in my notes.
I had a question.
Do you want to just hold on 1 second, Mike? Because Brian
Sure.
McBride's had his hand up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brian?
just, so remember we talked about Monroe Brook and the duckweed. I did call the Lexington Conservation Commission and let them know that there was an increase in the duckweed this year. And I talked to a associate person on their staff, and he said he'd be willing to meet and take a look at it. Although he gave me a little bit of a, we're really busy kind of thing. This may not be our top priority, but I think I will try to meet with them and see what they have to say. David White mentioned that the Arlington Great Meadows folks are probably not going to have the bandwidth to do anything at the duckweed at this point. But I'll just check and see what the Lexington person has to say, and if he has any tips, and maybe at some future point we can organize an action if it's appropriate and people have time.
Sounds great.
Also
Thanks.
note that Monroe Brook is actually not in Great Meadows. It's in Lexington Conservation Land.
Is that right?
Yes.
Because there's a bridge. I don't know. I don't know where the AGM starts.
There's a marker inside Great Meadows. That's where the boundary is.
Okay.
So
that bridge that crosses the
the
Monroe.
whole stream is conservation land, Lexington Conservation Land.
Okay. So maybe it's better with Lexington Concom after all.
Well, when you if you make that appointment and get out there with the associate, it'd be great to hear your feedback. So thanks for following up on that. Mike Gilderscame.
Yes, David White, did I understand correctly that there are additional invasives in the res that you have seen or were found? So did I understand what you were saying?
There are some other invasives there, yes.
Do you happen to know which ones are there?
It's in my mind at the moment.
All right, no, I just want to make sure because we want to catch those quickly.
One is Carly Leaf Pond. We had the same
Monitored, yeah.
retreat for at
Carly Leaf
Spy
Pond.
Pond.
Mm-hmm.
And there were trace amounts of something else I'm not recalling, but we did not think that that was likely to take hold or become much of a problem. It was like one plant or something that they found. And I feel like there's a third I don't recall offhand.
All right, I just want to make sure if there are any new invasives that we get them quick.
We're monitoring them, yes. And we'll try to respond. There's also duckweed there too. And there's a lot of nutrients in the pond because it gets a lot of stormwater runoff.
Yeah, definitely. There's a storm drain right from the road as part of it. We shall move on to our next item on the discussion items, which is an update from our tree committee liaison, Sarah Alfaro Franco.
The tree committee meeting has been postponed to next Wednesday. So no report yet.
Okay. Thank you. So number 3 on the discussion agenda is Sims Hospital. Unless someone has something to add, Nathaniel's not here, so I'm going to skip over that.
Yeah,
And we're going. Oh, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, Chuck. So based on our discussions last week, we did reach out to Arlington 360, who reached out to either the homeowners of the 2 properties we discussed or their attorneys. And we got back, the message was that was received well. So that's all I have, a little tidbit. I don't know if David Morgan heard any more details than that, but that's what I heard from Nathaniel.
Not much. Nathaniel wasn't able to make the meeting, and neither was Brian because Nathaniel held the keys to the team's room. So nobody could get in from the waiting room. Somehow I and the other stakeholders at Arlington 360 were able to join. So it was me and 3 others, and they talked about, as Brian said, they've addressed all of the abutter encroachment issues with the exception of the one sort of outstanding one up on Woodside Lane. They repaired the fence over at 20 Vista Circle and got the landowner there to agree to the vegetated fence and other measures that we requested at the last
David, I don't
meeting.
think we should be talking about that. That's executive session issues. We should just be very general because it's not decided yet and we didn't go through the process.
Fair enough. I
Okay,
will
thank
stop
you.
the
No.
updates there.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, we have fishing line working group update, and that's Susan Chapnick.
So there's been a lot of back and forth with different stakeholders about fishing line waste in Arlington. I've gotten emails from several residents about Hills Pond, about the res, about Spy Pond with pictures of waste. So it's still a critical issue. I actually had a separate meeting with Carolyn White of the Water Bodies Working Group, who had some specific concerns and suggestions. And so we had a one-on-one to understand her concerns, and so she could understand what the Conservation Commission's concerns were. The Water Bodies Working, the Fishing Line Working Group, where I was just going to email Natasha. They sent an email today. So they are having the next meeting next Tuesday. Unfortunately, I can't attend. I am going to be away next week. So what I did is I sent an email to them about my concerns for the next meeting and asked them if they would please consider them. And my email bullet points were very specific with suggestions that I had gleaned from emails of residents, emails of volunteer cleaning it up, discussions with Carolyn, et cetera, from a large pool, and from the discussions we've had at the Conservation Commission. So I won't go through what I sent them. If people are interested, I could forward it. I did forward it to David White. I think he got it for the Water Bodies Working Group. But if anybody else is interested, I can forward it along. And definitely when we get the notes from that meeting, there will be notes. They take minutes. I will distribute those and update everybody.
Sure. Susan, what time is that meeting? And I think you should distribute your comments to the commission.
Okay, I'll distribute my comments, and they're Tuesday, July 14th at 2 p.m. So if there's somebody else who wants to be the liaison from the Concom, I think all you need to do is email them. I'll send you my bullet points, which has the attached Zoom email, and you can just say, can we have this substitute member since Susan can't attend? But I didn't want to assume that somebody else could attend, so.
July 14th, is that what you said?
Yeah, at 2 p.m.
2
via
p.m.
Zoom.
Sure. David White has his hand up.
We talked about inviting some for the Water Bodies Working Group. Would Carolyn be an appropriate person to invite?
So I think so. She had told me that she is retiring from the Finance Committee the end of the year. So she would probably have a replacement to the Water Bodies Working Group from the Finance Committee since she's the liaison starting in 2027. However, I think it would still be fruitful if she wanted to be the liaison from the Water Bodies Working Group because she has a lot of ideas that are grounded in experience. She used to fish there. So as a kid. So I think she would be a valuable member. I did email Natasha after our last meeting where we suggested to have a liaison for the Water Bodies Working Group as an additional member. I have not received back a reply about that. So if that's something the Water Bodies Working Group wants to put forward, I approve of Carolyn being that liaison, then you should send an email again. After I send this around, you'll see who to send it to. It's actually Courtney Duggan, Duggan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. She's leading this. She's the Assistant Director of Recreation. So you could ask her.
Okay. I think I'll ask Carolyn if she's interested.
Yeah, I would ask her I asked her and she said she is interested, but she wanted to tell me she could only do it till the end of the year because then she's not on the Water Bodies Working Group anymore.
We can't have a water body. It's very flexible. There's a Water Bodies Group.
Yeah, so you might choose to have her and then an additional member from the Finance Committee because, of course, somebody from the Finance Committee, I think, is critical on your group to help with the budgeting every year. Yeah. Good idea.
All right. Meet next Thursday.
Good idea. And I'll forward that to the commission, Chuck.
Great. So I'm hearing no takers for this Tuesday meeting, 2 o'clock. I'm sure it'll be tough for anyone to make it in the middle of the day, but that's out there. If someone wants to reach out and just reach out to Susan and let her know that you're interested, and I'm sure she'll be able to introduce you to the right people and get you the sign in. So, as I understand, it's a Zoom meeting. Okay, we're going to move on. So we have administrators report. Anything from David Morgan?
I suppose one brief thing worth mentioning is, since we touched on McLennan earlier, I have remaining money in the budget for the feasibility study that I intend to repurpose. So I asked engineering and the head of DPW if they have opinions about what we should look at more closely in terms of the recommendations of that report. It's not a lot of money, so it'll only go so far, but hopefully start to develop one of the proposals from there into something more formidable.
So David, where is that money from? Is it one of the Conservation Commission funds, or was it a grant?
It's a CPA award.
Okay. And
David, did you have a question?
yes, I see. Hey, David, yeah. David, White, do you still have your hand up, or do you have a question?
I was thinking that the big concern is the water maintaining its proper level and DPW maintaining the drainage system properly. It's probably not a CPE item, sort of a maintenance item. But I'm also like to get more native plants in there as well.
I agree, and the buffer zone will help with water quality and other benefits, so I'm perfectly happy to move some money in that direction. I also think that the outflow is the main cause for concern, and we can take another look at that potentially with the funds that are available.
It's really their DPW structure. They have to maintain it properly.
And honestly, it's like $9,000. It's not going to go very far. So any of the other proposals that were made in the feasibility study will not be accomplished on that budget. It's either do something with the two topics that you just mentioned, or put a little bit more thought behind one of the proposals. And honestly, I favor the former because it's actionable.
I see Susan. Susan Chapnick's hand still up.
Yeah, I'll just be very brief. I support what you're saying, David and David. I would encourage you to coordinate if you do the replanting or additional planting on the bank. If you coordinate with the Army group, Elaine Crowder, as you know, has done a lot of that work. I've planted some there too. So it would be nice to have some coordination there, and I'm sure she could get volunteers to help you if some of the money is just used to buy the plants.
Yeah, great point.
Thank you.
With volunteers, the money goes much further.
Absolutely. Okay, that was our discussion items. We've made it through that, and we're heading into our first hearing. So our first hearing tonight is a request for determination of applicability for 18 Lake Shore Drive. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to consider a request for determination of applicability for removal of 2 Norway maple trees at 18 Lake Shore Drive. Not sure who's here for that, but see that you're, just introduce yourself so we can just see where the green square goes. And is someone here from Lake Shore Drive?
Okay, I'm Cecilia Francel. I own the house. This is my
Okay, welcome. And so if I think it would be great to have a little background for the commission. I mean, we do have your application, and we understand that there's a few trees coming down, but there are two located in the outer 100-foot buffer zone, and clearly shown on the plan that you submitted with your application. But I think that if you gave us some background about why the trees need to come down and how, and maybe some ideas you have to replace the trees, if that's a possibility, that might be great hearing that in your intro. So take it from here. And do you want to share screen and show us any of this stuff, or is there a particular sheet on your application that David should show, which I think maybe that would be the plan that shows the 4 trees if you guys weren't prepared for anything?
Right, we don't have the screen to show, so, but
Okay.
yeah, the one that shows the water in green coming up
Yeah.
towards the house and the 4 trees in the green.
Yeah, so David, if you have that and any site visit pictures, if you conducted a site visit, and I'll take it from there. As he
Okay.
does that, you can just open up and let us know how we got here.
Okay.
Sure. I'm Robert Gaywicki. I'm the husband of Cecilia Franzel, the house owner. And earlier this year, we investigated adding solar panels to the roof and contacted a company, and they came out with a proposal. And the initial proposal was that there wasn't enough sunlight to make it financially viable the way it was. But then if these 4 Norway maples, which are on the left side of our driveway, come down, the project then becomes financially viable. The plan is called a PPA, a power purchase agreement, and has a 25-year lifespan to it. So it turns out that the 100-foot floodplain of Lower Mystic Lake comes up and includes 2 of the 4 trees, the 4 Norway maples, that would have to come down to make the project feasible. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the 4 Norway maples, and one for sure, number 1 for sure, and probably number 2 are in the 100-foot floodplain. So we prepared a proposal for determination of applicability. We'd like to take these Norway maples down, all 4 of them, and replace them with Norway maple, by the way, is considered an invasive species. And we'd like to replace them with winterberry bushes, probably 1 for 1, so 4 winterberry bushes. There is some other growth, bushes and whatever, in the area. So it's not like the area would be completely cleared if the 4 trees come down. There are other trees and bushes there, some belonging to us, some belonging to a neighbor. So it's not like a clear-cutting situation. So we'd like to take the 4 trees down to make the project viable.
Yeah, I want to add that those bushes that Robert is talking about, they are actually like trees. They belong to our neighbors, and they are almost as tall as the maple trees, Norway maple trees. So it's already a lot of growth in that area.
Sure. I was wondering if you had an opportunity or if David helped you look through our tree replacement policy and if these winterberries that you're proposing here meets those standards in our own wetland regulations here in town.
I believe I was provided, or I found a list of acceptable replacement trees or bushes, and that the winterberry was on that list.
Yeah. So we have that native species list, that's true, but we also have some rules and regulations in our regulations that spell out how many shrubs or how many trees you need to plant based on certain criteria. And I was wondering if you looked at that. It doesn't sound like you do. So when I open this up to the commission, I think you're going to hear a little bit of I believe it's either section 24 or something around section 24 in our regulations that spells out when you take a tree down, this is what you need to do to replace that size tree. So with that, I'm going to open it up to, so here's some more pictures. I'm going to open it up to the commissions. I can see most of the commission members. If you raise your hands, I'll definitely be able to see you. I'm talking about the raise hand function. So any questions? I'm going to go with Sarah first because she's on the tree, liaison to the tree committee. So Sarah Alfaro Franco.
Thank you for the presentation. I was just curious, do you have some information about the diameter of these trees?
Yes, it's in the application. I believe they range from 7 inches DBH to 9 inches DBH.
Okay. And the trees that you plan to replace them with, what size would they be initially?
I don't know. I haven't gone to see what's available.
Okay, all right. I just okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Next, Commissioner Susan Chabnick.
Thank you. I actually drove by your house today. I hope I wasn't too spooky if you were home. It didn't look like anybody was home. I saw some little boys across the street fishing. So it's a beautiful area. I will say that I don't like to see such large trees taken down. It's a mature tree, even if it's invasive. I do understand you want to put solar up, and I do think it's a good idea to plant winterberries. Um, I I don't think this is compliant with our vegetation replacement because of the size of the trees. We require multiple smaller trees to be replanted in placement of larger trees that are within our jurisdiction. I I would like to just tell the commission there is a road between these trees and then more lawn and trees and Mystic Lake. So just so you get an idea of the outer 100, what it entails. So it's not just all nice and vegetated. There's a road. So I just want to explain that. You had said this is in the outer 100 floodplain. I was going to ask David Morgan, is this floodplain or is this adjacent upland resource area?
Right.
Or is it both?
Buffer zone and
It's
upland
buffer, yeah.
adjacent resource area.
Say that again, I missed it.
Buffer zone and aura.
Okay, thank you.
But it's also a floodplain, no? Or is it 500?
Let me check it, but mind mute.
I may have misread it. I could have misinterpreted it as 500, so that I may be incorrect in that assumption.
I'll double check and let you know.
Okay, thank you. So just, I am all for solar. I have solar on my house. It's a balance of, the wetland habitat, and even though a Norway maple is invasive, it still provides habitat for birds and mammals and bats and things like that. Against, doing a green energy solution. So it's a hard decision, but I would support it if I felt there was sufficient replanting in either there or another location around your house, because most of your your land is within the outer 100, right? In the front. Oh, it's not. Or is it?
So
Hard to
here's
see now.
Lakeshore Drive.
Okay.
The road Susan was describing, the property line is there.
Okay.
So it just edges over with the 100-foot buffer zone in Aura.
So it's really just, so you're really talking about 1.5 trees you're removing, basically, right?
So Dave, you were right, it's 500-year floodplain, that's the orange, and then down below the road is 100-year floodplain and floodway.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to get our bearings in. Okay, thank you.
Are you all set for now, Susan? Sure. Any other commissioners with some comments or questions? I see David Kaplan has his hand up.
I think Brian was first. Brian, if you want to go ahead, I'm happy to
Yeah,
go after.
maybe quick clarify something, David, because I heard 4 trees removed, and I also heard 2 trees removed. So I don't know if the applicant has some flexibility on how many trees really need to be removed. Me personally, if one of the trees, one of the big shade trees was to stay, that would be advantageous, and maybe supplemented with some bushes if required by the 100-foot buffer zone regulations.
So I would hazard an answer here for Brian. So if you look at the plan, it's clear that 2 trees are outside our jurisdiction. So you need to put your blinders on with those 2 trees. We're only looking at 2 trees tonight, which are in our jurisdiction. So the replacement policy and the vegetation section of our regulations would only be regarding those 2 Norway maples, which are either 7 or 9 dBH.
Right, and we would normally require a couple trees per each tree lost, depending, I don't remember the chart exactly, something like that.
It's at the discretion, sorry, it's at the discretion of the commission when you get over 4 inches, I believe. So the minimum, I believe, is 4 per, and then whatever the commission decides in addition.
4 trees per?
That's what it is at like the 4-inch, smaller than 4-inch dBH level. I'll pull up the regs so you can see it directly, but that's
I knew it was a lot. So it's over that threshold, so it's up to the commission. Is that what I'm hearing? Is there a minimum we have to, is there a minimum that the commission would have to start at? Or
Could I
is
correct,
everything
could I
option?
correct that? Because I just opened it up, so we
Thank you.
don't talk about an incorrect. So if it's a deciduous tree and it's 6 to 10 inches, replacement quantity is 3. So if we're losing 2 trees in the outer or 1.5, we have discretion, but it's 3 per tree. Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks.
So the same question. Do we have discretion or not? And do we have to start at 3?
But in this section, the way Kathy wrote that table was to tie it to basically per inch of dBH, and so it gives a minimum for the replacements up to, I think, the 10-inch standard, and then it's totally at the discretion of the commission. Is that right, Susan?
Yes, so if it's greater than 10 inches, it's greater than or equal to 4 replacements for each tree at the discretion of the commission. So it doesn't say at the discretion for each one of them, but my understanding, the way we wrote the regs in general, is we always have discretion, which we've done before. But
I would say it's always up to the commission how these things end. But my question is, we have 2 trees here, 7 to 9 dBH. It sounds like Susan understands the regs, and so does David, of course. Do we have a minimum threshold? That's what I'm asking. Let's forget about the discretion of the commission right now, or is everything up to the commission as far as what should be replaced? So, let's say you had like a nice species. It wasn't a Norway maple, something desirable that was a fruit-bearing tree or something like that. So it gives an extra bump. So
there it says replacement quantity 3 trees for dBH 6 to 10. So the table is very clear. But if you want to use your discretion, because we can use our discretion anywhere, because
Yeah, I
this
thought
is
David
the
was reading
outer
something.
100 because, whatever
Yeah.
reason. But the table is very clear. It doesn't say use discretion. It says 3 trees per each one removed
Sure.
by
And I
60.
think although David was trying to help us out, I think that did kind of cloud the water a little bit on what we need to do here. So let's just move on to Mike Gilderscame and see if we can get some uh, different thoughts out there.
I recall these because I helped edit them after Kathy wrote them. But the question is, we have to replace with 3 trees, but it doesn't say what size trees.
Yes, it does.
What does it
In the
say?
footer, it says 1.5 inches. Sapling trees shall include deciduous trees. It says 1.5 inches. And then it says B under that. Replacement deciduous trees must be a minimum of 1.5 dBH or the caliper equivalent. And then something else for evergreens.
All right,
Sure. Can I
that's good
move
to know.
Okay. I'm going to move back to David Morgan, who has some more information for us.
Actually, I have a question. If you want to let Dave Kaplan go first, I'm fine with
All
continuing.
right, Dave Kaplan.
Yeah, I'm sort of all for using our discretion at this point. I mean, I see the trees as, blocking solar project. I see them as invasive, even, they have some habitat value, but I think we're close. I think we should be considering using our discretion, potentially asking the applicant if there are other locations on the site they could either plant, say, a lower growing type tree or shrub to create a plant community, perhaps, not just replacing in the location of the winterberry. But again, I think I believe we just need to really just have a conversation with the applicant about if there's another location they could potentially consider additional plantings, because I think we're pretty close. I don't think if we ask them to, replace with more trees on the property, I don't want to get to a point in the future where they're not going to be able to, have where it's going to impact their solar array again. So, I think we could replace the habitat value of the trees, these, non-native invasive trees with, I think the winterberry does have a lot of habitat value for birds, food in the wintertime. I think we can get there. I just want to try to have that conversation, try to figure out if we want to ask for more trees or if we're going to be okay with shrubs, and then try to find a site on the property where it makes sense for potential additional plantings.
Sure. Before I go to David Morgan, I'm going to bring another issue up. So we have jurisdiction within the 100-foot. This property is within our 100-foot barely, limiting where things can be planted. So the commission has this question, and we'd obviously need the applicant's permission to plant it elsewhere on the property. So crowding is an issue when we want to plant trees in our jurisdictional area. That needs to be thought about. David Morgan.
So I understand now that the solar array is to be purchased through a power purchase agreement, PPA, and I know that the solar company did some analysis of the annual sunlight that the array would receive. I question the findings in that, to be perfectly honest. Given that it is a PPA, the way that those agreements operate are energy companies purchasing power from residents, in this case, at a fixed rate. And so they're seeking to maximize what they're getting out of the installation. Whereas if this was an owned unit, it could be possible to configure the array in such a way that the trees might not need removal, or it would just be lower power that's being produced. It may not be as necessary, especially if that solar system is tied to the resident's home rather than being energy produced for use off-site. So I wanted to offer that for context and just say that much as we're considering a solar array for a residential building, it is something that is sort of led by an energy company and sought to, accomplish the goals of the energy company, not simply residents. So wanted to offer that 2 cents. That's
Just a little,
I think Dave
just a
Kaplan
little
is,
pushback on that. No, I'm going to hold off on everyone. Just a little pushback on that, David Morgan. So in front of us, we have an application for a solar array with a proposed PPA. We don't have anything else. And so if this fails under what that description is, then they can come back with a different description, maybe taking your advice and going just to a single home one, and maybe they need to take down less trees, but I do not want to reconfigure the application. And like I said, let's just be strict constructionists here, and we have an application in front of us. Let's deal with this one instead of imagining what could be better. I lost track. I only see Susan's hand up. If it's Susan, please take a minute.
I think it was me. Chuck, I appreciate David's comments because I think it helps the applicant understand what the possible solutions are if this doesn't go the way they want. So I'll just make that statement, but I understand that you want to focus it. So I will focus it. I went down there today, as I said, and it looks to me, I don't know if this is something that would be amenable, that trees could be planted on the front lawn near the, kind of like street trees. There's plenty of room there. There's no street tree. There's one smaller tree, I think, in the front. It wasn't clear to me. The other side of the building, there's a gorgeous tree. I don't know what kind it is. Maybe the owners know, but it's a beautiful mature tree on the other side of the building. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. I think there's room in the front by the street.
So we go back to David Morgan for a second. And me and David were talking about this. We know, or he told me that this is a public street. That's correct.
private.
There's got to be, it's private?
Private.
Okay. I'll be quiet. So, okay. Any other questions? So it looks like we need, so what we're missing here tonight is compliance with our section 24 of our regulations. And the commission
25. 25, sorry.
25. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Section 25 of our regulations, and it seems to be the missing component here. Does any commissioners see a way around it? Does the applicant see a way around it? It looks like we need at least a tree for a tree plus some shrubs, in my opinion, from what I heard tonight. And it would be great to get them in the jurisdictional area. As far as species goes, we could move on and have you discuss if we had a number of trees and shrubs and the commission agreed to it, we could move on and we could have David approve the final species.
You're muted.
You're muted, sir. There you go. Whoops.
Okay.
There you go.
One thing that might come into play is that the area where the 4 trees are is sandwiched between 2 driveways. In other words, our driveway and the neighbor's driveway. And there's a limited amount of ground area for putting stuff there, in that there's probably already 4 to 6 trees, bushes, whatever, located in the same area. So, there's a limited amount of space for planting, like to put in 6 winterberries for 2 trees that come down. that's not enough. I don't think there's enough space for anything like that.
But what I hear you say is we can replant in a different area, like in the front of the house.
Yeah.
Well, that would be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Any thoughts for 6 winterberries and maybe some more diversity? I heard David Kaplan talking about diversity.
Yeah, so maybe the 4 winter berries they're going to do and 2 more something else in the front. Or, something like that so that we have some diversity. I don't know what, but I mean,
Yeah,
the front
we
you get sun too. You could put a nice dogwood, a native dogwood there in the front. It would be beautiful when it flowers in the spring.
We have one dogwood
Oh,
already.
you do? All right. So maybe it wants a friend.
All right. All right, so we're going to sit here and try to figure out these other 2 trees. We're going to leave that up to David Morgan. I'm not sure what's the commission's thoughts on this. It was 6 replacement, 4 winterberries and 2 something else's.
Yeah, and my proposal is that we use our discretion and allow 2 of the winterberries to be in our jurisdictional area, so near the front of that section, and the other 2 can be further out, because I do agree, looking at it today, it's very crowded there. And you were going to put 4 in anyway. So I would use our discretion as a Conservation Commission and say all 4 of those do not have to be in the jurisdictional area.
And the other 2?
I'd like 2 in the jurisdictional area and then maybe, 2 more in the front somewhere. Whatever David and you guys decide. But I see David
I think the
Kaplan.
proposal is 6 shrubs at this point.
Right.
So,
So 4 winterberries and 2 something else. And
You
only
said 2 in the, so hold on a second.
Yeah,
You said 2 in the jurisdictional area,
right.
2, and 2 further out. That's 4. Where's the other
Right.
2 going?
And 2 of something else, not winterberry, in the front. By the
That would
street.
also be in the jurisdictional
That
area,
would be
right?
within jurisdictional area, right?
4 in the
that strip by the
jurisdictional area.
street is jurisdictional. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
4 in the jurisdictional area and 2 further out.
right.
David Kaplan.
Look, I was a little bit confused on what we're asking. Are we asking for 2 additional shrubs in addition to the 2 winterberry in the jurisdictional area, or like a mid-story tree that won't necessarily grow as tall and impact, any future, shade out any future solar panels? Or
So
I
that
don't
might be
think the
your
front will
proposal, but
shade out any future
Yeah.
solar panels, no matter what you choose,
okay.
yeah.
by the street. So it's just the ones on the side that are, because the sun comes from, I think that's it's where the sun's coming from, so.
So then, it'll be a native tree replacement.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess our conversation isn't finalized yet. We know what 4 of these plants are, but we don't know what the other 2 are. And so now it sounds like they're going to be native trees.
They could be
So
small
Right.
trees.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I would be okay with that. I'd propose that. So I think if we could go to a mid or low canopy or non-canopy species, then I think that meets the spirit of the regulation in this tight site with limited jurisdictional area to mitigate.
Agreed.
All right. So at this point, I'm going to ask for if anyone attending tonight's meeting has any comments, just use the raise hand function and we'll recognize you and you can talk about this application. Seeing none, turn back to the Conservation Commission. Any further comments or motions?
I just would like to ask the applicant if you're okay with this, what we proposed.
Well, one question I have is, do we have any say in where these trees or bushes that we're going to plant, where they're going to go? Do they have to go in a certain area that you decide, or what do we have a say in this too?
You do have a say, except we want 4 of them in the jurisdictional area. So in order to get them in the jurisdictional area, you're going to have to put probably 2 of them in the front.
Okay, I see.
And then 2 of them, the winter berries, I'm assuming, on the side where you're removing the
trees.
maples closest to the street.
Okay.
And then 2 other winterberries we're allowing outside of our jurisdiction, because you had proposed 4 in that row there next to the driveway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the two something else's, did the recent discussion mandate that those be trees rather than bushes?
It did, from what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
so
reason
they can
is
also
that
be smaller trees.
they can be smaller trees, but the reason for that is that's really that's our regulations. Our regulations require replacement trees, not bushes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to be as close as we can to our regulations, but also have the discretion of the commission. And I think that's what we've ended up here with. I think it needs to be said that the trees must survive. Trees and shrubs must survive. And so,
3 years.
yeah, we have a 3-year survivability. So David will be reaching out once a year and making sure that they're in good, healthy shape.
And
So-
hopefully you're not planting them till the fall because we're in a drought. They will not survive right now.
Right.
You understand that, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments from commission members or motions? Susan, why don't you make a motion, because I think
Okay.
it was either you or David,
Sure.
but sure, Susan.
Okay. I was going to let David do it. I was waiting for him to
Yeah, you
talk.
probably could. Yeah.
I get confused about the positive, negative, and the negative,
Oh,
positive.
okay. So I make a motion that we are in jurisdictional area. Instead of doing the positive negative, I just say what we are.
Okay.
We are in jurisdictional area, which is a positive, and we're not requiring an NOI, and instead we are going to put conditions about replacement plantings. We're going to require 2 winterberries in the outer jurisdictional area of 100 feet. 2 winterberries can be placed outside of the jurisdictional area, and 2 small trees to be native trees, species to be determined with David Morgan in the front of the house at the location that the applicant wants to put it, but it must be in the front of the house in jurisdictional area. That was long.
It was, but it was thorough. So I think that's what we captured what we were talking about. So I think that it needs to be said that this, and I believe Susan did a little bit of this, but we are within the conservation's jurisdiction with this application. But the work is unlikely to alter the buffer zone or the resource area, provided the conditions that we have, what Susan went over. So that's what
Thank
we
you.
want to say in our regulations and on the application that we're sending back out to you. So with that, Susan's
Can we hold
motion.
up 1 second?
Sure.
I always forget procedure for RDAs. Do we have to close the hearing on an RDA or not? Or we just vote on the positive, negative?
Let's ask David Morgan, because I'm going to tell you what we do in Reading.
I think we need to close the hearing.
Okay, let's do it. So can I hear that from the commission? I need a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing.
That's David
Second.
Kaplan, second, Mike Gildesgame. Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Mike Gildesgame,
Yes.
David Kaplan,
Yes.
and Chuck Tironi says yes. Okay.
And I will second Susan's motion for the conditional RDA.
Yeah, Susan, we're not going to make
So,
you repeat that.
I make believe I repeated it.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have a
So with
recording,
that,
so it's
Susan and David Kaplan. Okay. So Brian McBride,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
Mike Gildesgame,
Yes.
Susan Chapnick,
yes.
David Kaplan,
Yes.
and Chuck Tironi says yes. Okay. Appreciate your patience, and David Morgan will write this up,
Okay.
and it spells out what we just agreed, what we have approved. And if you have any questions, you'd reach out to David. So these are usually ready within a week or so. But
Okay.
all those questions about when they're ready goes to David. Okay?
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Good night.
welcome.
Bye.
Good night now. Okay. So we're really gonna. So our next hearing tonight is it was for a notice of intent for 26 Dudley Street, but it will be continued. And what is the date of our next meeting? 7. Everyone's looking now.
23rd.
7/23. So can I get a motion to continue 26 Dudley Street to 7/23, our next meeting?
So moved.
That was Mike Gildersgame, a second.
Brian.
Brian McBride, seconded. Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
David Kaplan,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Mike Gildersgame,
Yes.
and Chuck Tironi says yes. Okay, so that's moved. Let's go to our next one, which is 91 Sunnyside Ave. So, all right, so we're going to open this hearing. I see that Maureen Harold is here, so just read the intro. DEP file number 91-378, notice of intent for 91 Sunnyside Ave. It says here continued from, I think I have that somewhere else. Let me think. 7/14, was that it?
I think April
The last-
15th, maybe.
Oh, April.
It's
Yeah, it
been
was
a bit.
April 15th. Yeah. So the last time we talked about it was April 15th, and we also continued it through our last meetings. And the last time we continued it was 6/25/2026. So the Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting to consider a notice of intent for construction of an addition, single-family house, sunroom, carport expansion, and replacement of decks, stairs, replacement landing, grading, and utilities at 91 Sunnyside Ave. Areas proposed to be altered: a buffer zone, adjacent upland resource area, bordering land subject to flooding, and riverfront area associated with Alewife Brook. So with that, it's been a while, Maureen, and I'm not sure if you have something to show us, but I think that it would be great to kind of do a little backtracking and tell us about the project again, just quickly, and then talk about the improvements that you've made. I reviewed the applications and the supplements to that, so I know that you've done a lot of improvements that we suggested on our site visit. So,
Sure can. So let me bring in the plan. So the commission may recall, I met some of you out at the site. The initial meeting was just an introduction to the project. Then the commission requested a site visit. This site had a previous sunroom off the rear of the property that was recently raised because it was just a hazard and it needed to be torn down. So as a result of that, we filed a notice of intent for a proposed addition and deck. The project, I think, has been significantly improved since the original submittal, and these are the improvements. The commission had requested that we provide some sort of infiltration for the new impervious area or the addition. So we are providing rooftop infiltration in this location here. It was also discussed, the chairman had a wonderful idea to incorporate a retaining wall from the corner of the dwelling to the property line. The original proposal did not include any type of compensatory storage. So the alteration to the bordering land subject to flooding is just for the post for the addition. So my original proposal was that de minimis and we weren't going to provide compensatory storage. But with the incorporation of the retaining wall, we are providing compensatory storage. And I'm just going to move this up and slide it over. Oh, where the heck is it? Okay, so I have a chart on the plan showing that we're proposing to alter 4.8 cubic feet of floodplain, and we're providing 11 cubic feet of compensatory storage. So we comply with the home rule that says 2-to-1 compensatory storage is required. Let's see. The project proposes 92 square feet of new impervious area within the riverfront area, and we are providing mitigation. So that was one of the other items, I believe that was brought up at the site walk in the initial conservation meeting. For those of you that did go on the site walk, you know, we really have a narrow area in terms of plantings and what it is that we can do. So we're proposing a flowering dogwood and 2 sweet spire shrubs, as well as a wildflower mix in this location. And we're also proposing a wildflower mix over the infiltrator. I didn't want to do any type of plantings in this location because I didn't want the infiltration unit to be damaged by any type of roots. So that's why there's no shrubs or trees located in that location. So as I mentioned, the project proposes 92 square feet of new impervious area. We are proposing 293 square feet of riverfront mitigation or greater than a 3-to-1 ratio. Riverfront mitigation includes the rooftop infiltration, native plantings, and wildflower seed mix. I had updated the NOI form page 3 of 9 with the correct information in terms of compensatory storage, riverfront mitigation. I also updated the notice of intent to comply with the new revisions, the notice of intent report, as well as addressing the climate resilience narrative. And I addressed the DEP comments. Basically, the DEP comment says that this is a redevelopment. We need to comply with the redevelopment standards, which we do, which is why we're providing the native plantings and the mitigation and greater than, so normally they require 2-to-1 mitigation with work over 10% within the riverfront area, and we're providing 3-to-1. In addition, we provided a chart, on the plan just showing the square footages. So Tyler Ferrick from DEP is the DEP reviewer, and I just verified with him that that's what he was looking for, and that's what he told me. So we provide that on the plan as well. We also provided details for the infiltrator unit, in system, downspouts. I am hoping that addresses the commission's concerns, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, thanks, Maureen. That was good, and you got all that. I think the one question that I would have is on the infiltration. Do we know where seasonal high groundwater is?
So we did not do any type of deep holes out there. Jack had assumed, let me see, it's on the plan somewhere. 1 second. He had assumed the estimated seasonal high water off of the flagging of the bank.
Mm-hmm.
This addition is smaller than what, let me say this again.
Is that part of the detail? Is the seasonal high groundwater on that detail? Can you slide over and show us that again?
Estimated seasonal high water.
Yeah, there it is, 2 feet.
Yeah. provide a 2-foot separation. Here we go. But it's basically an assumed, the neighbor next door does have rooftop infiltration as well.
Mhm. Okay, that was my question, and I understand that the bank, I understand what you're saying when you say it's from the bank. So that's great. And I'm looking at everyone here, and I just see that Susan Chapnick has her hand up, and I keep missing Brian, so I hope you put your hand up second, but you have this same colored picture in the background.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so Susan, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know which one of us went first, but you stole my thunder anyway. I was going to ask about seasonal high groundwater, but I'm satisfied that it's at bank,
Yeah.
likely. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the additions you put on the plans because it makes it much easier for us to find everything rather than going through the whole NOI and checking all the boxes off. I'm very pleased with the additions. I think it improves the project both for the applicant as well as for the environment. And I appreciate the climate change resilience section that you added. And the fact that you added the retaining wall and put the compensatory flood storage in. So I think based on our site visit, I think this is a great improvement and I'd have no other questions. Thank you, Maureen.
Great, great. So Brian McBride.
Yeah, just two things I had notes on. One was, did you ever get in touch with the town engineer? I think you were going to run calculations by the town engineer on the infiltration, perhaps.
So I did not get in touch with the town engineer, but David had helped me out with that. My recollection is I think I had sent emails to him and called him, and we just were never able to connect. So David had sent me the adjacent properties information. So I went off of that.
Okay. And David, we're comfortable with that. We don't feel like we need to wait for a town engineer to chime in.
I don't think so. As I remember, I vaguely recall there being test pits for the neighboring property. I'm not sure if we confirmed that or not, but I'm good with the assumption that's been described, and also with the fact that we affirmed the condition on the other project. So.
And then the other check-in I had was I guess the PRC owns the area where the native planting square would be. Do we have? I'm sure they would welcome native plantings in that zone, but do we have any concerns that there may be a no and that may be an obstacle at some point?
Isn't it all on site?
Yeah, no, it looks like it's all inside the.
Yes, it's all inside. I can outline the property line. So this is my client's property right here. This is the property line, and this is the property line. So he owns the property.
I see. I'm sorry. Maybe mixing it up with another project then. Okay. Thanks. I'm set.
So I see that David Kaplan has his hand up.
Yeah, I just want to confirm something with the plan. If you're going off the bank, and maybe I'm misreading this, you're saying I see some elevation shots on the bank, and they're anywhere from 0.28 to 1.46 between 4B and 2B. You have your bottom of your infiltration at 1.5. So if you're looking at flag 2B, unless I'm reading this wrong, it doesn't look like you have any separation. But so, could you please explain that to me?
I will try. There was something on the plan. I know he used an assumed elevation, and I'm trying to look at that elevation.
Can you go back to the detail again?
I just want to see if he notes it. See, he doesn't note the elevation here. Bottom of stone is 1, infiltration. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I can get you that elevation number. Bottom unit invert 1.5, bottom of stone at 1 foot. I don't know. If you need the number, I can't give you a number right now.
So we don't have, where's the section of the plan that you're seeing this, David Kaplan? Can we get
I
back to
can-
this?
The bank shots.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
scroll up underneath the north arrow, I thought that those may or may not be elevations. I'm not sure. I assume they are.
7, yeah, 4, 6, 7. What's this 4, 6? That sounds low, a little low area.
Yeah, it looks like from 1B to 4B, it's point 0.78, 1.46, 0.78, and then 0.28.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to talk to the engineer about it. I honestly, I don't know the elevation. He doesn't show it on the plan. I do know I did speak with him and he said, oh, I used an assumed elevation. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think it's great mitigation, great project in theory. I just want to make sure that you have some, if this is going to be considered part of the mitigation, I just want to have some assurance that but maybe you're not right at 2, maybe you're at 1.5. I think, it's, we're, again, it's part of mitigation, so I'm not sure like 2 feet is required because that's a stormwater standard, right? I mean, you can
It
still
is a
have
stormwater standard, but it's not going to function potentially.
right, but I mean,
If it doesn't
could
have
still,
2 feet. Yeah,
it could
so it's a
still
good
function.
point.
I think 2
Mhm.
feet is kind of like maximizing the water
Mhm.
quality that you get through the substrate.
Mhm.
You'll still have
Well, it has nothing
infiltration if it's less, but
It has nothing to do with water quality. So the rooftop infiltration collects the rainwater from the roof. The rainwater is considered clean water. So it
okay.
has nothing to do with cleaning the water prior to it infiltrating into the groundwater. It's really just to infiltrate into the groundwater and just directly rather than falling off the roof and infiltrating through the grass. But in terms of cleaning the water's already
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe I'm misinterpreting or misunderstanding why that 2 feet
The-
is in there. And
uh,
my thought was that the 2 feet was in there for water quality, but maybe it's just mounding and functionality and other things to consider.
So the 2 feet is just to ensure that it's not sitting in the groundwater, as Commissioner Chapnick stated. But if you really think about it, the most effective time or the most effective use of this type of infiltrator is in the summertime and the fall, when the groundwater is low, where it would recharge the groundwater. In the wintertime, it's ineffective because the ground's frozen, right? Or we have snow on the ground. And in the springtime, you almost don't even need it if we have a normal spring. I don't think we've had a normal spring for quite some time, but
hmm.
but
Want to
I
move
can
on
get
to,
that. I can get that number if you would like, and see what the engineer says.
let's see what David Morgan wants to add to the conversation. I see his hands up.
I'm trying to save you having to go back to the engineer and get those numbers. So I'm seeing 3.88 next to the infiltration field there, which is the elevation, and of course at the lower end it's about 3 feet. So if that's grade, then we can work backward from the diagram, the spec on the top right there, and see if we get past that magic number.
Yeah, so Maureen, can you move back over to the detail?
Yep. Okay. So finished grade. Top
Here's
of
an
it.
elevation, yeah, 2.5.
That's the top of the, so the finished grade 3.88, 6 inches below. Top of the elevation is 2.5. And then we have another 12 inches to the crushed stone, so that would be 1.5, right? And then how much crushed stone? How much crushed stone? Bottom of stone.
Yeah, it's another 6
One.
inches, so that's down to 1, and then you need 2 between there and there.
24 inches.
So as you say, it seems like it doesn't add up
No,
with
it doesn't.
that
You don't, it doesn't
elevation,
look like you have the 2 feet. Mhm.
but they're, you're right, it's not always at the high groundwater level, and it's commission's call, not mine.
Yeah, I think we need to get some more information on that. I think it was a good question from
It was a
Commissioner
very good
Kaplan.
question. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Maureen. Not to belabor this, it seemed like that was the only question we needed an answer to. I don't want to even, consider having David Morgan look at this because it came from a commissioner. So if you can get that information to us at our next meeting, we can put you on and finish this out.
Okay. I can get that elevation and get some clarification from the engineer. Not a problem.
So if
right.
he can put the elevations
23.
or even a separate diagram or whatever, put the elevations on the infiltration unit, then the estimated season high ground, so we can really see it. Because we don't want to be calculating numbers.
No, I know. I
Okay.
I think he just left it off, just
Right, but we
as
can't
an
just
error.
assume it's going to work if it's mitigation. So if it wasn't
I-
mitigation, it wasn't part of the mitigation, this wouldn't be a discussion, right? Because I
Well,
don't
it's
think
what
you
the
need a
commission,
stormwater, right? You
it's
didn't
what the
need
commission
stormwater.
asked for
Right,
at the site
right,
visit.
right. Because we want it for mitigation. And so that's why we needed to know that it's going to work.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, those are the breaks, right?
Yeah.
If
If
there's
he was
no,
here at the meeting, he probably could answer the question. But that's a problem. Yeah,
well, can't make him appear, right?
Right.
So, if there's no other questions or concerns or other details that the commission needs, I'll just request a continuance to the July 23rd meeting.
That's right. So is that it? Do any other questions, or is if we finish this off, the elevations on the infiltration system, we'd be good?
I'm good
That's
with that.
Yeah, I see no hands, so we're good. So all right, Maureen, can I get a motion to continue to July 23rd?
So moved.
David Kaplan,
Oh,
Second.
second.
David White.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. I'm awake.
Yeah. All righty. Never doubt, never in doubt. Mike Gildersgame,
Yes.
Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
Brian McBride, David White,
Yes.
David Kaplan,
Yes.
and Chuck Teroni says yes. Okay, Maureen, we'll get those answers and be great to send them to us so we can upload them for our electronic distribution, week before at least.
You got
That'd
it,
be great.
Mr. Chairman. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, Maureen.
All right, Maureen.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye.
All right, so here we are. We're into open forum. Is anyone here to discuss something that's not on the agenda? And your
Don't we
comments
have
will be.
Don't we have another meeting to continue?
Oh, Zero Reed. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thanks for that. All right. So moving on to zero read. So this is another one's going to be continued to July 23rd. Can I get a motion to continue this meeting to July 23rd?
I'll move.
David White moves. Second.
Second.
Mike Gildersgame. Susan Chapnick.
Yes.
David Kaplan.
Yes.
Brian McBride.
Yes.
David White.
Yes.
And who did I miss? So David Kaplan. Mike Gildersgame. Sorry. Yeah, Mike Gildersgame.
Yes.
Chuck Roney says yes. So this moved to July 23rd. Now we're down to this citizens open forum. If anyone has something that they'd like to bring up for a future topic with the Conservation Commission, please raise your hands at this point. I'm talking to the audience, Susan. I shouldn't call them the audience. Anyone in attendance tonight, I'm talking to those people. If there's someone here that would like to bring something up that we should discuss, just use the raise hand functions, raise hand button, reaction functions. Seeing none, Susan, did you have a comment for a future meeting? An agenda item.
I did. Eileen Coleman, I know, has conflicts with this meeting, and I understand she hasn't been making the water bodies working group meetings either, which she was on at one point. I don't know if she still is, David White. So I was wondering if we'd reach out to her if she feels she would like to step down, if she can't do a, I mean, associate members don't have to come to every meeting, but they should come to some of them. So I'm just making a suggestion that we might want to reach out to her and find out what her availability is, what her, you know.
Well, I
she
think
wants
that's one of
to.
the beauties of being an associate member. How many meetings has she? Is it that she's an associate member and she's on the water bodies working group? Is that because we have David here kind of covering that also, and David Kaplan, the two Davids.
Well, I'm also
What's
thinking in the future, let's say we get, more people interested in the commission. It's hard to have lots of associate members. It's hard to kind of wrangle everybody. So generally, since I've been on the commission, it's up to you. We've had two associate members. I mean, we could have more, but I would expect they would come at least every other meeting. I mean, that's my expectation. Maybe that's unrealistic. I think she's missed every meeting this year.
Yeah, so she was
It's
an
a
associate
conflict, I
member.
know, with her meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she did become the administrator over in Burlington. I think there's a wealth of knowledge that she brings to the Conservation
I
Commission.
totally agree, but I'd like to either get that wealth of knowledge or find out what her
Yeah,
plans are.
I think it's worth a conversation and just seeing what her interest and availability is and comparing that to attendance and I guess the benefits of having her on.
Yeah, I don't think we need to bring up the do you feel part of do you still feel like you can make these meetings because an associate member that's what it's all about. We can have David, how many associate members, David Morgan, how many associate members can we have? Is there a limit? Because if two doesn't sound like
There's no limit.
a big issue. I would just have a conversation and not bring up stepping down. I mean, I think the other benefit of an associate member is to reach out at some points and have that connections, like we are possibly going to do with David Nathaniel Stevens. So yeah, I wouldn't bring up stepping down. I think we can always fill in more active associate members. So
They need to be active in some way.
yeah.
I think there has to be some activity. If there's no activity for 6 months at all, I don't understand your point of view, Chuck, but maybe this is a discussion for another day.
Yeah. My point of view is just that there's more, there's more to it than just attending the meetings. And with her position in Burlington, I think that we have a source there that would come in handy. That's my only point. If you feel like just because you're missing 6 meetings as associate member, you need to be asked if you feel like you're, still up to the challenge, then I hear that you and David Kaplan feel the same. I don't think it should be brought up, but I think
Maybe
it
we
puts
can
everyone
assign
in
some
an awkward
tasks to them.
position.
Yeah, I mean, the way I understand the associate membership too is that the benefit is they're here asking questions, even though they can't vote. And I mean, we can have the input of anybody in the community, regardless of whether or not they're a commissioner outside the meetings. That's what Nathaniel is going to leave himself open for without being an associate member. But again, like I'm not sure what benefit we can get by. I mean, it's probably the same as keeping her on and adding somebody else who can probably attend more meetings and be a little bit more involved versus, like you said, Chuck, then, having her step down and then replacing her with another associate member. But I think Susan's point of just having a conversation and seeing what that availability is a good one.
All right.
Who's
Any other
gonna
comments
have-
from commissioners?
Who's going to have
Um,
the conversation with her?
I would
Mhm.
volunteer. I know that her personal email has been full and bouncing for some time. So I think I should
Oh.
reach out to her in Burlington in a professional capacity and say, what's your workload like? What are you up to these days? How you feeling about Concom in Arlington? If that's okay with everybody.
I would
Yeah, I
appreciate
think
that because I've
that'd be
been
good.
sending her emails too and they
Yeah.
bounce. So I don't even know what her email address is for Concom work, not for her Burlington.
All right, David, that job is yours. Any other
Mhm.
questions from commission members, considering some of us are in vacation land?
mode?
Yeah.
Vacation.
Keep it moving. Yeah.
All
So
right.
so that was we did that. We did new business. Any other new business anyone wants to talk about? Hearing none. How about a motion to adjourn?
So
Move to
Motion to adjourn. Oh,
So it's
David and I got it.
8:35. Okay,
Synchronized.
so yeah, did we get a second?
Second.
There you go. Mike Gilderscame. Everybody, traditional wave. We'll see you later. Back in Massachusetts next week.
Okay.
Good night.
Have a good
Have a
rest of your
good
trip.
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye now.